Kaspa content creators are scrambling to pick up more bags because they over-diversified, which is something they're actually charging people money in order to give them advice into doing. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger of Berkshire Hathaway preach every year as being the biggest mistake investors can possibly make. It's also the most number one profitable way for investment gurus to make money that will never work out. And every single dollar you don't put into your best idea is one of your biggest mistakes. And they're all seeing that right now, hence the fact all the creators are saying, oh yeah, Kaspa's definitely going down to 5 cents. We'll challenge anyone on gains because our system works better than anything else. Solana, within the last week, we entered into a 5x leverage trade. As we can see, Solana just recently crossed 2 origin trend lines, and the most important is this repeating trend line coming all the way off the top of the bull market, which ran into another one which was right around the Terra Luna crash. We crossed both of those trend lines exactly on the 20th of December, right around $75. That's where we jumped into a 5x leverage on Solana. The reason why we didn't go 10x like we typically do is we wanted to have enough buffer room in case it checked down again. We wanted to be able to go to at least $64 without busting. We're going to hodl this all the way into the peak of the bull run. Of course, looking to DCA into this leverage position at later points down the road. We're focusing on Kaspa, and Kaspa and Solana have so much in common just on the fundamentals. That's another thing that all these content creators are suddenly forgetting. Or perhaps they honestly didn't do any research besides the first page of Google. How many times have we heard it solves the trilemma? See, Kaspa and Solana are 2 peas in a pod. They're in the same car. As the future projections of Kaspa's smart contract platforms, they have an option just like Solana. Solana runs a native smart contract. You see, there's 2 kinds of smart contracts. You got your layer 2s like your Maddox and your BNBs. And what they're doing is they're running right into the Ethereum virtual machine, which is like the Dark Emperor, the Sith Jedi of all smart contracts. It runs right into the Ethereum virtual machine, and a lot of the tech guys and the super nerds will tell you it's too expensive, it's not very efficient. That's why everything is nicknamed the Ethereum killer. Now, Solana, Polkadot, Near, and some other cutting-edge, especially late-blooming cryptos from the end of the last bull run, which is exactly when Solana came out, they started using better coding language. You see that whole Ethereum virtual machine and all those BNBs and the Maddox, those are all written in Solidity. Solana is written in Rust. Just this summer, what the Solana smart contracts did is they already had the native smart contract in Rust, and now they linked it up to the Ethereum virtual machine as well. So we can go both ways. It almost has that power of network, like MySpace, with the cutting-edge new tech of Facebook. So it's like the 2 put in one. Very powerful. And Kaspa, being written in once they eventually branch off into smart contracts, and of course, Jonathan, the founder of Kaspa, following Satoshi's vision. Side note, we have an amazing AI video that proves Jonathan is Satoshi. They go all the way down into handwriting samples, which is how the CIA actually caught the Unabomber. I mean, the artificial intelligence goes deep on this one, so make sure you subscribe to watch that video that's coming out. Kaspa is going to do a smart contract in its native Rust language, but they also have the option to hook up to the Ethereum virtual machine and do both, just like Solana. That's one of the key notes that's going to trigger Kaspa to absolutely rock it, is as soon as you hear the word smart contract, whether it connects to the Ethereum virtual machine, does a native, because right after it does one, it will do the other very soon, I can almost assure you. Of course, nothing that we say is financial advice. Another massive switch point coming for Kaspa down the road, what's going to happen when they come up with new, more powerful higher hash rate miners, and those get released, thus supercharging the hash rate monster for Kaspa. These are two things that you almost never hear content creators talk about. And of course, Jonathan is much more interested with his cryptocurrency, saving third world countries from destructive governments who have abused the fiat situation. Smart contracts is much more going to enrich the Americans. But once the Kaspa infrastructure is well in place in Turkey, parts of the Saharan region of Africa, and all over the world, once Jonathan's comfortable with that and he's built out the actual payment system of Kaspa, then the fireworks are going to start happening, and we're going to see some absolutely face-melting gains like we're watching on Solana right now compared to the rest of the altcoins for Kaspa right again. Jumping into the Kaspa chart, you guys remember that green origin trend line that guided the breakout in both April and recently in November? We can take a clone in that exact same angled path the candle has been riding ever since it's been bouncing off of the 10-cent mark for Kaspa. And this is in part how origin trend lines will work on the chart. You'll of course see them on the one-day chart in the big picture, and then when you zoom in all the way down to the 15-minute, you can see them on a much smaller time window taking effect over the candle. This is a great way to identify and underline that the trend line you're looking at is in fact an origin trend line. Remember when Kaspa was forming the cup and handle, or back in April and May when AVAX was forming that double top? Within those larger patterns, what we kept seeing was smaller micro cup and handles throughout the half hour, 1 hour time frame on both Kaspa and AVAX. And it's common knowledge that the larger pattern will often be made up with a lot of drawings of that larger pattern on a smaller time frame. And this works, of course, again with your origin trend lines. We can see Kaspa is on this rising green trend line, and it will come to a crux on this major 3.168 resistance trend line to the downside on exactly December 23rd. So we could either get a bit of a pullback there, or we could still keep pushing higher and then start to test the red zone. And of course, in this scenario where we can get the candle back up inside the red zone comfortably, we are looking at another possible breakout for Kaspa. So this is a very important time on the chart right now, and the only way that we can find it is from using our origin trend line. Stay tuned. We got the Patreon coming out in just a few weeks. We're learning our video editing, studio quality audio right now. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.